Well, delighted to be joined here in Dubai. You can tell he's in his beach regalia. He is a happy man. It is Danny Kerr, 84 caps for England, Harlequins legend as well. Danny, great to have you out in Dubai.
It's not a bad little spot for a chat about rugby, is it?
It certainly is not. And listen, let's delve straight into it. Six Nations this weekend. There might be one or two England fans thinking, Danny Kerr, Dubai doesn't quite compute. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not in the squad at the moment. Eddie went with Ben Youngs and Dan Robson, so yeah, we had a fairly open and honest conversation. He wants to give those two a go and see how they go, and I've just got to wait and hope that I get a chance and see what happens, really.
Door very much still open. Obviously it's a World Cup year for you personally. There is one goal and one goal only. Has Eddie said to you, Danny, listen, go away, work on a few things, come back, the door's always open?
Yeah, he said the door's open, so look, I'd love to play a part in this Six Nations. For me, it's the best tournament out there. It's brilliant to be a part of. Gutted to not be in that opener in Dublin on Saturday, but you never know what happens in sport. It can all change so quickly. So all I can do is be ready if the chance comes available, and hopefully take my opportunity if it does.
You've said there it's the best tournament out there, the Six Nations. I grew up in it. I grew up when Gavin Hastings was knocking the ball through the post. That was me, Gregor Townsend. The list goes on. What is it about the Six Nations and you as a fan and as a player that you love so much?
I think just everyone loves it. You never know what's going to happen. Anyone could beat anyone. There's always an upset. I think this year, I think one of five could win it this year, and I think Italy will cause some serious problems. My good mate Conor O'Shea is doing some brilliant things over there, and see how well their provincial sides are going at the moment. Treviso beat Harlequins this year, so the Italian rugby's growing really strong as well. But anyone can beat anyone, and I can't wait to actually watch it as a fan for once.
Watching it as a fan, absolutely. Do you get nervous?
As a fan, yeah, you still do. You still do. I mean, when England play, I think I might just get back. I might just land in time to watch it, but I'll be nervous for the boys. Obviously, some really good mates who'll be going out there and trying to win in Dublin, which is a very hard thing to do. But I've just got a sneaky feeling that we might nick a win over there.
Yeah, weirdly, an awful lot of my rugby mates are saying the same. What are you basing that on? Is that?
I don't know. I just think everyone's kind of maybe writing us off a little bit, so we're kind of going over their underdogs, which is something that doesn't normally happen. I mean, Ireland are brilliant at the moment. Let's face it, they are probably the best team in the world at the moment, the most informed team. But you never know. First game of the series, anything could happen. You could spring a slight upset, and you know we got Billy back, we got Mako flying, Owen's fit. You know, hopefully the stars are aligning and hopefully we can have a big performance.
I want to talk about England and talk about that inner sanctum if we can. Very fortunate over here in Dubai. It is a place that you boys like to come. We've had Dylan Hartley over. We've sat with Owen Farrell when he's come over as well. We've talked about Eddie, the Eddie effect, the Jones effect. Since he's come in, he had that immediate impact where you could do no wrong. Had a bit of a wobble. And now one or two out there saying, well, is this England team really as good as perhaps we thought in his first few months and first few games in charge? How do you read it as a player, Danny?
I think obviously we had a brilliant start. I think Stuart had done some brilliant stuff with the team. Obviously the World Cup didn't go to plan. Eddie came in, fresh voice, fresh ideas, really got the best out of the boys. And I think people forget that, you know, in that 19 game, we had a fair bit of luck as well along the way. Bounces of the ball, decisions. And it's brilliant to go on that run, and you know what it's like in sport, momentum. It's very hard to stop when you start winning, getting that winning formula. It's very hard to break it sometimes. So, and then you obviously teams. I think we caught teams at a time where they were struggling a little bit, and now teams have got a lot better. And last year in the Six Nations, we got shown up a little bit by some very good teams. And I think now we're at a place where no one really knows what's going to happen in the Six Nations. No one knows what's going to happen in the World Cup. No one really knows who's going to win it. There's not one clear favourite, which is brilliant for rugby. And for England, I think hopefully it will show the character of the team and a bit of resilience of coming back from a year of not so great results. Hopefully we can go back on an upward curve.
Talk to me about the messaging from Eddie. He comes in, and you're right to point that out, and I do want to touch on Stuart Lancaster. I think it's important we do that. But Eddie comes in, he has that immediate impact. Has his rhetoric, the way that he is with the players, has that changed at all?
No, he's been the same from day one. From day one, he sat us down and he said, this team can win the World Cup, and it's up to us to do it. So straight away as a player, you grow a couple of inches. You feel okay. Well, you look around the team, look around that room, and you see the world-class players in there, and you think, do you know what, we've got a chance. And it's going to take an incredibly lot of hard work. It already has done, but there's even more hard work to go. But he came in with an attitude that you have to win. We have to win games, and could probably put us in a bit of gave us that edge to really draw out these tight games and get the win. And it just gives you that belief that you can go and do it, and you win a few, you get a bit more momentum, and it keeps going. And I think, like we said, now we'll see what this team's all about after having a bit of a bad year, how he's going to build them back up, and I still see some positive things this year.
You're absolutely spot on there. When everything's cruising, everything's rosy in the guarding. The last 12 months or so, things perhaps not gone the way that in the grand master plan that England would have been looking forward to Japan this year. It has been a bit of rocky ground. Is there a reason for that? Do you players come together? And I know Owen was saying that there are a lot of the time the coaching staff aren't part of the conversation. Yeah. You've got an honest bunch, and Dylan was saying that he likes the fact that everyone can stand up, have their say, as long as they back it up with reasoning for it. But have you boys had that kind of little chat amongst one another?
Yeah, look, we're quite open and honest that we didn't play as well as we know we could. Also, we had a few injuries in key positions, and also other teams played very well and got a lot better than they probably were the year before. So I think you look around, there's so many good players for so many of the teams that if you're slightly off it in one game, then you're going to get beat. You can't go to Murrayfield and expect to rock up and win the game. And we went there and we got a bit of a rocket. A couple of decisions didn't quite go our way. Nigel Owens ruled out one of my tries, which I'm still devastated about. But and then Scotland go the length of the pitch with a Finn Russell magic pass, feeds the crowd, momentum, and then we lose that game, and then we kind of spiraled a little bit down from there. So if you're slightly off your game at international level, you're going to get punished, and let's just hope that England are fully prepared going into this game, which I'm sure they will be. The other big kind of talking point, I say big talking point, one of the other things that one or two fans have been questioning is this idea that there's two captains now, Dylan and then Owen is now part of that. The players, have you made much noise about it? I mean, who do you feel is the captain? Are all you captains at the end of the day? Oh, look, it's obviously been Dylan for a couple of years, and now it's changed to co-captains with him and Owen. But Owen or George Ford or Danny Cipriani, whoever's playing 10, leads the team around anyway. I think there's probably too much. The media put too much ownership on the captain and his role. I think within the team you'll have 4 or 5 leaders. You'll have a pack leader, you'll have a leader of the backs, you'll have the 10 calling all the calls, and you'll have the captain who makes the decisions whether we kick to the corner or go for the post. It's probably, I think people make a bigger deal of it than it is. In Owen and Dylan, you've got 2 brilliant leaders. Owen, who a guy you go into battle, with. He leads by example, never has a bad game. His standards, he drives such high standards of himself, but also everyone around him. So you want to get on that level with him, and it brings people with you. And Dylan's a guy who he does so much stuff behind the scenes that people don't see. Getting the boys together for socials, so many meetings that he has with Eddie, delivering messages back to the boys. So it works really well as a co-captain, and it doesn't really matter who's out there on the pitch leading it, because they're both world class.
How much does winning this Six Nations matter in relation to the World Cup? I mean, are you privy to conversations, you and the boys, whereby you're saying, listen, this Six Nations takes on even greater importance because it gives us that momentum?
Look, I don't think it's paramount. If you don't win the Six Nations, it doesn't mean you're not going to do well in the World Cup. Obviously, every team will be going into this Six Nations thinking we can win this. What a momentum giver, and sort of self-belief will go even higher if you can do it. But look, it'd be amazing if England won it, but if we didn't, I'd still think we got a great chance in the World Cup. And like I say, the 6 or 7 teams come that World Cup that are going to think they've got a chance of winning it. And a lot can change in 5-6 months, however long it is in between. You've
called Ireland, and your words, Danny, I'm not putting words in your mouth, that's for sure. Ireland are the best team probably in the world right now. With that in mind, what are they doing that England are not, that Scotland are not, that even the All Blacks, the great All Blacks, that they're not doing either?
I think what they are doing is their basics are spot on. 9 or 10 out of 10 every game. Their defence, Andy Farrell's got them working incredibly hard in the defence. They're so hard to break down. They put their bodies on the line every tackle of the game. Their kicking game, I think a lot's been talk about that. Conor Murray puts the ball on a sixpence for the chasers, and one thing as a scrum half, you need your chasers to chase properly every single time. And you look at their wingers, Conway, Stockdale, whoever it is, they chase like mad things every single time, and they make a slightly bad kick a good kick by how good they chase. And on the floor, they're brilliant, great turning over the ball, incredibly tough at the breakdown. So they don't do anything ridiculously flashy, although Tyg Furlong, every now and then will pull something out of the bag like he did last year at Twickenham. So they've got the ability for trick plays, but what they do is they do the basics incredibly well, and they make it very hard to score against.
I'm glad you mentioned Andy Farrell. We caught up with him as well at the Emirates Airline Dubai Rugby Sevens, literally a couple of days after it was confirmed that he will step into the breach once Joe Schmidt moves away as the head coach of Ireland. And I want to touch on him because Stuart Lancaster, didn't work out 2015. Both men, though, rebuilding their reputations more than anything. I mean, Andy Farrell doing wonders at Ireland. We had Jamie Heaslip telling us that Stuart Lancaster is arguably the best coach that he's worked with. He thought that highly of him. Why did it not work out, do you feel, in 2015? Too much pressure?
I actually caught up with Stuart the other day. He turned up at the dinner spot I was at, and I hadn't seen him for 4 years. So no, it was great to catch up because we go way back to sort of 13, 14-year-old Leeds Academy days. I was scared of him then. I'm still scared of him now. But no, I just think the amount of pressure that was on us, home World Cup, the amount of pressure that was on him. I feel that we got a few things wrong. I think it's fair to say with that. Again, we didn't get any luck. You need luck occasionally to win a game. We got no luck in the Australia or the Wales game. And like I say, if you're slightly off it, you're going to get beaten. And we got beaten by two teams. Suddenly we're out of the tournament, and everyone thinks we're awful. I think obviously what's shown after that, it's the same teams, the same group of players. It's not a bad team. I just think at that time we got a few things wrong. Maybe our game plan wasn't where it should have been, and we got punished for it. And obviously, unfortunately, people lost their jobs. I think what's amazing to see is how well they've bounced back, and it's shown the resilience of both Andy and Stuart and Graham Rowntree as well.
Of course,
that they're doing so well now in the game. And obviously, Andy Farrell's going to be coaching one of the best teams in the world. You speak to all the Leinster players; they absolutely love Stuart. He's loving life out there. So yeah, it's kind of sad that we've lost two good Englishmen to the Irish game, but you never know, they might come back in the future.
We'll hold you to that. Well, I say I can't class myself as an Englishman. I'll be shot if I do that. But it is interesting you mentioned there the fact that new chances for those boys. You were given a new chance, and now in Japan, 4 years on from. It was a bit of a debacle, let's be honest. I mean, England failing to get out the pool stage, and I say that as a proud Scotsman as well, Danny.
Smile on your face.
But 4 years on, does that act as a motivating factor, or can that work the other way, that there's extra pressure on us now to do well?
I think with it, it's such a big build-up. It's 4 years of build-up to this one tournament, and the dream is to lift it. From a young boy, I dreamt of winning the World Cup, seeing Martin Johnson do it in 2003. I want to be on that stage lifting the World Cup. Everyone does. So, you just want to peak at the right time. Maybe it's a good thing for us that we lost a few games last year. Maybe that was our sign of saying, you know what, things aren't as brilliant as we think they are. You've got to keep getting better. And maybe we were a bit complacent. So glad it happened now rather than in Japan. And like I say, you never know what's going to happen, but I know for sure the coaches and the players will be working incredibly hard to be at full peak fitness, game ready, to go into that tournament, and they'll be resilient. There'll be some hurt from 4 years ago, but I think you can use that as a motivating factor and as a positive. You can turn it around and hopefully use that anger, because it was a dark time for us. Turn that around into a positive and really use it. Not to labour on that dark time for English rugby whatsoever, but do you remember the feeling? Do you remember what you did? I was sat in the stands watching. I was the third choice, so My first game, I'm actually 1 from 1 in World Cup games. I beat Uruguay. That's my first game.
Get that in there.
That was my first game of the World Cup when we were already out. We went to Uruguay. I played at Manchester City Stadium, which was awesome, and we got the win. But obviously, we just couldn't believe it. We'd worked so hard. It had been, like I say, 4 years in the making. So the training sessions were hard. We went to Denver. We were doing altitude sessions, some of the worst fitness sessions you've ever done. But you go, do you know what? It'd be worth it because we're going to win the World Cup. And then we lost. I remember we lost to Wales, and we thought, okay.
To jump in there, you genuinely believed, and again, it probably is a stupid question because, of course, no athlete is doing something if they don't think they can win. But there was a genuine belief. Yeah, this is our time.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw an article Stuart Hogg did during the week. What's the point in going into something thinking that you're not gonna win it? And we generally believe we had a good chance. I think at that time, some of the teams in the world weren't particularly firing on all cylinders.
Australia got to the final when you think about it.
And we thought we home World Cup with that crowd that we'd have a good opportunity of giving it a good go. Look, it wasn't to be, but you have to go in with that belief that you can do something special, dare to dream, and all that. And definitely the boys will be doing that again this year.
Northern Hemisphere rugby appears to be in a real good space right now. Ireland great, England there or thereabouts. You always will be. As a proud Scot, Gregor Townsend has got us playing a decent brand of rugby, following on from Vern Cotter. You've got Wales, who all of a sudden people are starting to talk about once again.
Yes, going under the radar a little bit, and I think they kick off on Friday night, and I think Warren Gatland said that he thinks if they can win their opening 2 games, they've got a good chance of winning the tournament. And you look at their run, they've got a few home games. That's the thing, the beauty of this tournament. You just don't know. You look at the players that they've got at their disposal. Thomas Williams getting a start at 9, Gareth Davies on the bench. Some great players, obviously still to come back. I can't call this tournament. I don't know who's going to win. My heart obviously saying England, but you just don't know. France, you never know what team's going to turn up. If they can get together, and Intermac playing at 12, really exciting player. He could light up this tournament, and if the French get their mindset right, they're incredibly hard to beat.
What about the World Cup? Because I get from you, obviously you're a little bit down not to be part of this Six Nations squad. You're kind of saying, I hope the boys will do well. You're not closing the door on that World Cup. You'll be working your socks off to ensure you're back in.
Oh yeah, that's, like I say, the dream for me is to win a World Cup, and I'm not getting any younger. Look, I know this is my last chance to have a go at trying to do that. And look, I'm desperate to be a part of the England team again. It hurts when you're not there. When you see the boys, pictures of the boys training, all my mates are out there training hard. I want to be there helping them to try and firstly win this game against Ireland, but win the Six Nations, get to the World Cup and do something special there. So no, I'll do a bit of training while I'm out here just in case I get the call. But look, I'm desperate to get back in that England shirt, and hopefully I've got a few games left in me.
You talked about lessons learnt from 2015, Danny. If you were to make it in the squad and England head on over to Japan, what needs to change in terms of what would be the first thing that you would be looking at the squad and the team, England Rugby, to do differently when you get over there? I
think you just can't be complacent in any way. We got an incredibly tough group. It's going to be very hard to get out of, but you've just got to take each day as it comes. Make sure you make the most out of every single training session. Every weight you lift in the gym, every rep on a training field, it has to count, because you're not going to get this chance again. There's going to be a few of us, hopefully they're older boys, that's it. It's our last opportunity to win a World Cup. And I'd hate to go through my career and not have given it a good go. I didn't get a chance in 2015. I got injured the week before 2011. I'd love to be there at 2019, and some incredibly tough games, and you've just got to be on it. You've got to peak at the right time, and hopefully we will.
Well, listen, the very best of luck for that. And before you go, and I'm glad you said you're a bit of a rugby man, Danny, because I've got a bit of a Six Nations quiz for you.
Oh God, here we go.
So here we go.
I was lying.
So this will test you. This took me all of about 30 seconds, by the way, to come up with. It was the first. Just type in Six Nations trivia into Google, and this is what popped up. So let's see Danny Kerr how well he knows the Six Nations. Easy one to start off with. Which is the stadium that boasts the largest capacity amongst the 6 stadiums?
Twickenham.
It is Twickenham. Well done. I thought it was Stade de France. It's not. In which year did Italy gain entry 5 became 6. And I'll give you choices.
Okay.
Is it 2000, 2001, 2002, or 2003?
Oh, you give me 4 chances. I had 2001 in my head, but I'm going to go 2002.
It's 2000.
2000 was it?
It's 2000.
Wow.
Which Irishman holds the record for the most caps in the Six Nations with 65? Is it Paul O'Connell, Brian O'Driscoll, Rory Best, or Ronan O'Gara?
I'm going to go with Rory Best.
Brian O'Driscoll.
Brian O'Driscoll.
That got me as
Go
well,
with
by
your
the way.
first answer.
It got me. This is a good one. You'll like this one. England 2003 won the Grand Slam.
Yep.
Followed up by winning the World Cup, of course. There was a team, a nation in that Six Nations that year that lost all 5. Who was it? Don't
It's
say
not
it.
your boys. Okay, it's definitely not your boys. I will go with 2003. Who had a lull? Ireland.
Wales.
Wales.
Beaten by England in the
nothing.
quarter-finals as well.
Wow.
Here's another one for you. In 2001, couldn't believe this, the Six Nations wasn't concluded until October.
Wow.
Do you know why? I'll give you 2 options.
Okay.
It was a volcano, or was it because there was an outbreak of hand and foot, or foot and hand disease? Foot and mouth, not hand, foot and mouth
It's
disease.
got to be foot and mouth.
It's
hasn't
foot
it?
and mouth
Yeah,
disease.
Wow.
So you played Wales in the October,
Wow.
and you actually lost to stop you winning.
So then Wales won the.
Wales won in October.
Wow.
Ah,
That's a great stat.
yes, foot and mouth, not foot and
Foot and
hand.
mouth.
Don't think that's a disease. That's a new disease coming your way shortly. Last couple.
No, my son's had foot and hand, I think.
Foot and hand?
Yeah, he's had some weird stuff on his hand and feet. Foot, hand and mouth, maybe it's called.
Maybe that is what it's called. That's why I'm getting mixed up. Didn't expect the quiz to go this way. Last 2. Who has won the most?
The most Six Nations. You're smiling, so you.
I wish it was.
So it's not England then. England.
It is England.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've won 28 outright, 38 combined. That's the nations, the 5 nations, the 6 nations. And then the last one, who has the most points in Six Nations history?
Player or
Player.
team.
Johnny Wilkinson or Ronan O'Gara?
Has to be Johnny, doesn't it? No, Ronan.
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 557.
Wow, what
It's
a
decent,
man.
that. Danny, absolute pleasure. Listen, last one from me. England winning the Six Nations?
Let's hope so.
Winning the World Cup?
Let's hope so.
On the fence as always. Danny Kerr, what a legend. 84 caps for England. Harlequins legend as well, and fingers crossed. And I say this as a proud Scot, that this man is representing England come that World Cup in Japan.